Man, that's a tough fight, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, that he has in himself. And he's ready to go make history for his country. And he's going to do real well in that fight.
Boots a hell of a fighter. What kind of advice would you give Boots if you were his corner man?
I'll just say, don't always be looking for the knockout boxing. So, he's a good boxer.
Most difficult guy to fight in the weight class because he's rangy. He can do so many things. He can fight inside, he can fight outside. He's a great body puncher. He's a very, very respected guy, and I think he's very mature for his age.
It's hard to really go against Boots because on that one with specifically Xander, I feel Xander's still young, Boots is a lot older and has a lot more.
Boxing professionals are now giving their last forecasts for the upcoming match between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas. Terence Crawford thinks that Ennis holds the upper hand because of his seasoned background and top-tier abilities, but Zayas, although he has clear talent, remains a boxer who is still growing and improving.
Right now, it's a little bit too early for him.
Eddie Hearn states that Boots Ennis possesses fight intelligence that is elite and on a different plane, and he thinks there are still hidden aspects of him that audiences have not witnessed so far, and he also had the courage.
So you have to respect Zayas, and the fact that he's willing to do it is a serious threat because he's not an idiot. Top rank aren't idiots.
I think after this fight, Terence Crawford urges Xander Zayas to accept difficult sparring and confront his worries head-on, because he believes that confidence and preparedness will develop from training without fear and from conquering obstacles in the lead-up to the bout.
Work on things that you don't like to do. Get comfortable doing things that you don't like to do and try things. Everybody come and spar and they do the same thing over and over and over. And then they wonder why they don't get better.
That's right.
Or they fight the same way. That works on this level, but when you get to the elite level, you're gonna have to pull everything.
Max Kellerman predicts that Jaron Ennis will command the fight versus Xander Zayas, stating that his experience, intelligence inside the ropes, and general ability are obviously greater, and he adds that Zayas has talent but is not yet at the same top level as Ennis.
And belt?
Yeah.
You can win belts in different divisions, right? But Boots was the Ring Magazine welterweight champion of the world. Right now, I don't love the way he got it because Stanionis hadn't fought in a million years. It's his only real significant welterweight win, really, of a guy who's in the top 10, and that guy was really inactive. But he dominated that fight, Mike.
Yes,
dominated.
Jaron Boots Ennis explains that his primary objective is to take on champions who possess world belts, stating that this is the path his career is on. He shows respect for Xander Zayas as a gifted younger challenger, yet he emphasizes that the difference in experience remains considerable. He keeps his attention on high-level matchups and thinks that competing against title holders is what will genuinely shape his legacy going ahead, all while remaining courteous to up-and-coming fighters in general. How do you feel about that?
Feeling great, man. About to be a two-time weight division unified champ. Man, I'm snapping my legacy, man. It's only up, man. I'm about to show the world I'm the best in the world. I'm gonna continue to keep showing the world I'm the best in the world. Like this boxing game mine, straight like that.
Now, the bout with Virgil Ortiz looked like it was done, and then of course, legal stuff happened. That had nothing to do with you.
Right.
But you always said that you were going to give the fans the Virgil fight, and if that didn't happen, right back to the mission, and the mission was the belts.
Yeah.
So was that why Xander was your first option after Virgil?
Yeah, I mean, well, once we, me and the team sat down, we figured out like, everything falling through, it's not really gonna happen. I told them, I told my team, management, the zone, I'm like, yo, go get me Xander. Go get me Xander, or go get me somebody with the belts. And that's what they did, and I'm glad they did that, and I'm excited.
Ready. Leo Ruiz stresses that Xander Zayas is far from an easy opponent, but still gives a slight edge to Boots in a close and competitive fight. He explains that Ennis brings more long-term experience to the 154-pound division, which gives him stability and confidence at this level, while Zayas is still growing into elite competition. Ruiz believes the fight could genuinely go either way, depending on how each fighter performs on the night. He highlights Boots as the more versatile fighter with a deeper toolbox. Ennis can switch between southpaw and orthodox, apply pressure, or box at range and adjust quickly during exchanges. His ring IQ and ability to adapt under pressure make him extremely dangerous in different fight situations. Ruiz also points out that Boots is comfortable both coming forward and fighting off the back foot, which makes him unpredictable.
Xander's strengths, what do you see weaknesses on both fighters? How do you see Xander versus Boots going?
If you want me to be honest, I feel like it's a 50-50 fight. You know, Zayas is a he's been at 154 for a way longer time, and Boots is coming up. But of course, you know, skills pay the bills. I feel like Boots could edge it off in a close fight, but who knows? You know, Xander could pull off the upset, even though he's a champion. But I think Boots is the more skillful fighter in a way. But Xander is no pushover, and he's a champion for a reason, and it could go either way. You know. But I feel like Boots could slightly take the edge on that one.
On the other hand, Xander Zayas is widely praised for his discipline, clean boxing style, and strong ability to manage distance using a sharp, accurate jab. He is a technically polished fighter who understands how to control rounds by staying composed, sticking to fundamentals, and avoiding unnecessary exchanges. His patience in the ring allows him to stay consistent and rack up points over time, especially against opponents who struggle to match his timing and rhythm. However, Ruiz suggests that Zayas has not yet been tested against the same level of elite opposition that Jaron Ennis has already faced. This difference in experience at the top level could become a major factor when both fighters are pushed into deeper, more intense rounds. While Zayas is improving rapidly, the step up in competition against a fighter like Ennis represents a new challenge. In terms of weaknesses, Zayas may face an experience gap when dealing with high-pressure moments against elite-level opponents. On the other side, Ennis sometimes takes risks while trying to break opponents down, which can leave openings if not controlled properly. Overall, Ruiz sees this as a highly competitive and intriguing matchup, but he slightly favors Ennis due to his greater adaptability, higher level experience, and more complete skill set in a demanding high-pressure environment.
Has more tools in the bag. You know, I feel like he's really good going forward or back where he could box. He's a southpaw. He could turn orthodox, whatever. You know, I feel like he could adapt. And Xander's a good boxer. You know, he could box and stay on the outside and just win, just using his jab and being really good on the outside. So it's kind of hard to see, to pick a definite fighter to win, but I think Boots will for sure, take.
Richard Torres Jr. expresses strong admiration for Xander Zayas, saying he is a big fan of his style and appreciates what he brings into the ring. He respects Zayas' discipline, technical skill, and determination, believing those qualities make him a dangerous opponent for anyone in the division. Torres feels that Zayas has both the heart and ability to push Jaron Ennis in a competitive fight. While acknowledging Ennis's elite level and proven talent, he still sees Xander as someone capable of making the matchup difficult and testing Boots in ways many fighters cannot at this stage of their careers.
Question more for you. What do you think about Boots versus Xander? How do you pick that out?
Man, it's two insanely talented fighters. I myself am a Xander fan. I'm through and through since day one. I've known him since the amateurs. I'm gonna rock with Xander. He's my guy. I won't ever go against him, man. So Xander's my guy, and I'm gonna keep with him. Boots is such a talented fighter. I'm a fan of his as well, and I'm excited for that. I just saw he posted today that he signed the contract. So
I am excited for that. I just saw he posted the day that he signed the contract, so let us see how it goes, man. Greg Hackett gives a very balanced and thoughtful view on the upcoming Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis fight on June 27th in New York City. He believes the 154-pound division is extremely competitive and even describes it as a three-way tie among the top names based on the quality of recent wins and overall performances across the weight class. Hackett explains that Xander's recent victories and growing resume have earned him strong respect, especially given his age and development. He points out that performances like his win over Abbas highlight how far Zayas has already come. At the same time, he also recognizes Jaron Ennis as a dangerous and hungry challenger stepping into a new stage of his career at 154, where his size, skill, and adaptability will be tested more seriously. According to Hackett, the fight will come down to IQ, conditioning, pressure, and mental toughness.
Xander is fighting Boots June 27th. Love to get your reaction on that. What do you think about the winner, leading up to a Fundora fight, but just the fight itself as well?
So what's the first question? Who the best at 54?
Who do you think is the best at 54? And then, what do you think about June 27th in New York City?
I think it's a three-way tie out of all the champions. You know why I say that? Who got the best win out of all them guys?
At 54, I would say Xander.
Xander got the best win?
Yeah.
And who would that win be?
I think Abaz beating Tellis was big. And then him beating Abaz, I think that was.
He emphasizes that Xander as the champion will need to show how far he is willing to go under real elite pressure, while Boots is motivated by the desire to prove himself and capture respect at a higher level. He notes that this is one of the first major matchups where Ennis faces a strong, skilled, and physically imposing opponent in this division. Hackett also respects Xander's decision to take this fight, especially at such a young age, saying it shows confidence and ambition. He believes Xander has the ability to make it a technical boxing match, using his jab and movement to stay disciplined, while Boots may try to break him down with pressure and versatility. In the end, Hackett sees the fight as competitive and potentially going the distance if Xander stays cautious, but he also warns that if both fighters engage aggressively, the contest could end in a decisive finish.
See him being 23, wanting this fight. Boots, only has one fight really at 54, fighting Lema. So this is a big guy, can box. What do you see in the fight?
It's gonna come down to IQ. It's gonna come down to conditioning. It's gonna come down to pressure. It's gonna come down to what Xander is willing to go through. Xander is the champion, right? Mm-hmm. Boots is hungry because he want that respect and he want those titles. Xander got to figure out how far he willing to go. I think he's willing to go there because what he went through with Abbas was a good tangle up. You know what I mean? That was a good little mix. But this time,
Winky Wright says the matchup between Xander Zayas and Jaron Ennis should be a very good and competitive fight, especially given how strong the 154-pound division looks right now. He feels fans are finally getting the kind of matchups that make boxing exciting again, with top fighters willing to face each other instead of avoiding tough challenges. Wright explains that this is exactly how the sport improves, because real greatness only comes when fighters beat other great fighters. In his view, it is not enough to build a record against lesser opposition, as true respect comes from stepping up in elite-level fights. He believes both Xander and Boots are now in that stage of their careers where they must prove themselves against top competition. Overall, he sees this fight as an important test for both fighters and a positive step for the entire division moving forward. Xander and Boots right now, it looks like Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's gonna be a good fight, man. The division looking good right now, and I just want to see all the fighters fight each other, man. The best need to fight the best. That's what's gonna be.
In his view, both Xander and Boots have reached a point in their careers where they need these kinds of high-level challenges to prove themselves fully. He stresses that fighters cannot become truly special without stepping up in elite competition and testing themselves under pressure. He also mentions the broader triangle in the division, including Virgil Ortiz, Xander Zayas, and Boots Ennis, saying these names represent the future of the weight class. With Virgil currently unavailable due to legal issues, Wright sees Xander stepping in as a positive move that keeps the division active and exciting. Overall, he supports the fight happening and believes it is exactly the type of matchup boxing needs to bring fans back and keep the sport moving forward with meaningful competition.
Great by beating somebody great. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a bunch of wins with no great win. You're just a good fighter, but you want to be great, you need to beat another great fighter. So they got the opportunity, and I hope they do it.
What are your thoughts on, if you know about it, the Virgil situation? Virgil Ortiz, him and Golden Boy have kind of like a lawsuit going on against one another. Well, Virgil put the lawsuit out for Golden Boy. Now he's sitting on the sideline waiting for arbitration. Do you think it was right of Xander to step in and say, you know what, I'll take on Boots since you're going to be sidelined for a bit?
I had nothing. I don't know about it. You know, tell you the truth. You just telling me new. But it's good that he stepped in and we can get a fight.
Gives a clear and confident prediction for the Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis clash, strongly leaning toward Jaron Ennis. He says he has been picking Boots all along and still believes he is the stronger, more complete fighter going into this matchup. According to him, Xander may start the fight well in the first 1 or 2 rounds using movement and trying to establish rhythm, but it will not last long once Boots makes adjustments. Spring explains that after the early rounds, Ennis's athleticism, punch variety, and timing will take over. He believes Boots puts his combinations together in unpredictable ways, making it very difficult for opponents like Xander to read or defend against his attacks. He adds that Xander may struggle to find consistent answers once the pace and pressure increase. When asked what Xander must do to win, Spring admits he does not see many clear options. He suggests that Xander would need to land something unexpected, possibly a well-timed counter while Boots is attacking. However, he emphasizes that if Xander tries to box normally or rely only on movement, Boots will eventually break him down. Overall, he predicts a mid to late stoppage, likely around the 7th or 8th round with Boots taking control and finishing strong. Xander Esger Boots by the 7th or 8th round.
What you think? Boots by stop in 7th to 8th round.
That was fast, eh?
I got Boots. I've been saying it.
What do you see?
First 2 rounds, Xander is going to get, because Boots going to adjust, and I think after that, Boots just takes over. I think Boots just saying he's too athletic. The way he puts his punches together, where they come from, he's not going to see them.
What does Xander have to do to be successful?
I can't really, I don't see nothing he can do. To tell you the truth, except he might have some private power if I catch Boots with something. Surprisingly, probably punch when he punches, he just got to throw. But if he just stands there and thinks he's going to move and try to be athletic with him, Boots got him all the way.
Now, do you see it being a systematic breakdown or one shot?
Tim Bradley reacts strongly to the discussion around Jaron Ennis versus Xander Zayas, pushing back against the idea that this is an easy fight for Boots. He says anyone believing that is underestimating how competitive this matchup really is, stressing that Xander Zayas is not just a young prospect, but a serious, skilled challenger. Bradley points out that Xander is coming in as a hungry, athletic fighter with strong boxing IQ, solid movement, and good counterpunching ability. He highlights that Zayas is physically strong for the division, potentially even matching Boots in size and strength, which could neutralize some of Ennis's usual advantages. He also notes Xander's ability to punish mistakes, especially against aggressive fighters who tend to overcommit. Can Boots? And you are crazy if you think this fight is going to be a slaughter.
You crazy if you think this fight gonna be a slam dunk for him. You know, who was the last technical guy that Boots fought, man? Karen? Come on, man. He getting in there with a young gun, man, just as hungry and energetic as he is. You understand that? Bigger than he is. Probably just as strong as he is. High boxing IQ, just as well as he does. You know, got skills, good counterpuncher, good legs, good movement. Throws and punches, got a left hook, which is the punch that Boots get hit with most. You know, like, Boots got the right.
He explains that Boots Ennis is naturally an aggressive boxer who likes to press forward, set traps, and look for knockouts. However, Bradley believes this same style can sometimes lead to impatience and mistakes, especially against a disciplined fighter like Xander. He suggests that Zayas is exactly the type of opponent who can capitalize on those errors and make Boots pay for small openings. At the same time, Bradley acknowledges that Boots is elite, fast, and dangerous, and has also shown improvements in adaptability. But he reminds viewers that slick, mobile, and intelligent fighters have given him problems before. Overall, Bradley calls it a true 50-50 style matchup, saying it is far from a predictable outcome. He believes both fighters have clear paths to victory, and the fight will ultimately come down to discipline, adjustments, and who makes fewer mistakes under pressure.
With most. This ain't gonna be no damn slam dunk. This probably might be like a half court shot. Yeah, for both these dudes, man. Xander like guys that come forward. And you already know Boots is gonna be aggressive. Boxing coming forward. His game, he gets too impatient sometimes. Because he's constantly on the hunt looking for a knockout and looking to counter. We know Boots like to be first. We know he likes to bring the action and bring the pain. He needs to learn discipline. That's it. And Xander's that guy that can make him learn that real fast, because Xander's one of those dudes that's gonna tax your mistakes. That's what he does. He tax these guys that come forward, he tax their mistakes. Now,
Coach Redman says Xander Zayas is still a young fighter, but holding 2 belts shows his legitimacy, and nobody should overlook that when analyzing his matchup against Jaron Ennis. He believes the fight will look different compared to a potential Boots versus Virgil Ortiz clash, which he sees as a more explosive, high-contact war. He explains that Xander will likely focus on boxing smartly, using movement, timing, and adjustments to reduce the chaos in the ring. According to him, Zayas takes pride in his ability to adapt during rounds, which could make this a more technical and tactical fight rather than a pure brawl. Redman also notes that while Boots brings pressure, versatility, and physical strength, Xander's discipline and ring IQ could help him extend the fight and stay competitive over 12 rounds. He believes both fighters are skilled enough to force constant adjustments, which increases the chance of a competitive, closely contested bout. Overall, he respects Xander's achievements and sees this as a meaningful East Coast showdown with serious implications for the division. I have rated them both slightly above Xander, but Xander has 2 belts.